Last night I read a short section from one of Pope Benedict's homilies, and you'll remember this sentence, I think. In the sacred host, he is present, the true treasure, always waiting for us. In fact, Jesus, God, has been waiting for us for a long time. Here's a verse from Isaiah. I was ready to be sought by those who did not ask for me. I was ready to be found by those who did not seek me. I said, here am I, to a nation that did not call my name. One of the prefaces reads, when we were lost and could not find our way to you, you did not abandon us to the domain of death. And so God waited, as it were, and waited for us to call to him. Waited for us to seek after him. And we did not. And so, as we read in Luke's Gospel, the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost. And so, the Lord did not just wait for us, he came seeking us. When we look at Jesus hanging on the cross, we see God seeking us. And indeed, God continues to seek after us. And God will use anything at all. We can believe that he would use organized religion. He would use services like these. He would use the sacraments. He would use preaching to seek after us. But the truth is, he seeks after us in all things. And so, one of the big ways that he seeks after us is in our suffering. In those times when we are so vulnerable, the death of a loved one, so some tragic event. We all remember how for a little while the churches started to fill up again after 9/11. And today, suddenly all these people were in Paris walking around Notre Dame Cathedral. People who hadn't been inside the cathedral, maybe in their entire life, I don't know. Anything that shakes us up to make us either reach out for God or just be available for God to get our attention. God seeks us all the time. And those of us here have let ourselves be found to some degree. But most of us still have parts of our lives that we haven't turned over to Christ. Most of us are still holding on to some things. It might be a sin that we're afraid to let go of or don't want to let go of. It might be some area where we are still in control. Might be some what we call guilty pleasures, Might be things that aren't evil in themselves, but they keep us distracted. They keep us from seeking God with all our hearts. And especially anything that keeps us from loving God. Remember, loving God as God tells us in the Scriptures that He wants to be loved with all our heart, with all our soul, with all our mind, with all our strength. Until we get to that point, we are still in need of Jesus to touch us, to work in us, And so, at one time, God waited for us, and we didn't seek Him. So the Son came seeking after us. And now, both things are true. He waits for us in the Eucharist, the great treasure of the church. He waits for us in His own person, for us to seek Him. But His waiting does not mean He's not seeking. He's doing both. God waits for us and God searches for us. And we see tonight, anytime we read the Passion, the lengths that God will go to connect with us. We see that God will stop at nothing for us to be saved and to be free. God is doing everything God can to free us from sin and to fill us with His life. Are we doing everything we can to be found, to be freed, to be filled